I got these fresh eyes, never seen you before like this. My God, you're beautiful. It's like the first time when we opened the door for we got used to usual. It might seem superficial, stereotypical.
If you want something enough, you do make it blend. Like some days you're going to be amazing in the morning and crap in the arvo. Other days, it's like, do you go to the gym? You look pretty fit.
Used to, having a break.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, if you ever get on the treadmill and if you run, some days you'll run and you'll be in the zone and like almost a bit meditative and you'll just, the time will go so fast. Other days, 1 minute feels like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And you can't wait to get off. And it doesn't mean, you know, you never really overthink, oh, why wasn't I so good on the treadmill? But in life and work, we sometimes think we need to be this perfect person, and you don't. No, I reckon the colour of life actually makes it better.
Thanks, Matt.
Alright, see you, Ryan.
Appreciate it. See you, mate.
Bye, mate.
Suddenly, I'm in love with a stranger. I can't believe that she's mine. Yeah. And now all I see is you.
So I thought I'd bring you here to where I started. A lot of people ask me about my story and I sort of tell people snippets, but I'm going to tell you sort of what it is, because especially if people are watching my videos, they sort of half don't have an idea of what I've done or why I'm even doing videos or sharing information, because my journey was hard, like it really was. And here's a quick version of it. And yeah, so like when I grew up at Maroubra and then I left the beach there and I went into the city when I was about 17, and then I started partying in there. And then I sort of never went back to the beach, and I was a bouncer on Oxford Street, got involved in a lot of things, like I started bodybuilding and then started taking drugs and partying really hard, and then I ended up like quite involved in like the underbelly of the whole city and things and all of that stuff. Anyway, over time I got deeper and deeper and deeper into all of that life, and things sort of fell apart later. That's a really short version, but you can sort of imagine what it is. And then things fell apart, and then I ended up living in this abandoned. So I was a drug addict, involved in all of that lifestyle, and then I ended up living in this abandoned building. This is years down the track, and there's lots of things that happen in the middle of all that, which I could probably tell you when it's not so much a G version show, a G version video. But yeah, I ended up living in this abandoned building, and I met a guy in Terrigal about 6 months before I ended up there. His name was Dino, and I sort of hooked up with some people in Terrigal in a nightclub one night, met Dino, and also my ex-wife Karina that night. It was her 18th birthday. Went back to Sydney, everything went sideways. I ended up homeless, living in that place, literally with nothing, like nothing but a drug addiction, that's it. And so I was in such a bad place that I knew I'd be dead or in jail any day, and it was a long time coming, and I couldn't see any other way out of it. So I rang Dino, who I only met that time, and had a couple of chats with him on the phone, and I said to him, mate, would you come pick me up? I'm either going to be dead or in jail any day. So he did. He drove down from the Central Coast, picked me up. I left with the clothes I was wearing pretty much, and a garbage bag with a couple of other like t-shirts or singlets or something, not much. And then he took me out up to Terrigal, put me out the back of his parents' house, and I lived there for about 9 months. Now I was in a really bad way, like mentally, emotionally, physically, I was not in a good way at all. But he bought me food, he helped me out, he got me back on my feet. Now, when I was and during this thing though, it was a long journey in that, and I was driving along and one day. So Dino and I were driving along in the car one day, and that day I was going to kill myself. And not many people know this stuff, so I'm being really open because I think it's relevant. If people are watching my videos, why am I even sharing life experiences with you? But I was going to kill myself that day. I made a decision, and I'm not joking. We were driving along. Now Dino's really big, and he's like, makes me look small. And he turns around, and he looks at me, and he says, Matt, whatever you do, don't kill yourself. And I was like, wow. It was like, I don't know what happened, but something told him to say it, and I decided not to. I was like, that guy, Dino, helped me out, had no reason to help me out in life, gave me food, shelter, helped me get started again. And when he said that to me, it was like, I can't explain it, but it was like, okay, I'm not going to then. So I picked up the phone at his house, and I rang an ex-girlfriend, and I said to her, her name's Lisa, and I said, Lisa, I'm in a lot of trouble. And she's like, yeah, you are, a lot. So I just left Sydney, and she goes, I said, what am I going to do? And she goes, why don't you get into real estate? And I was like, no, you got to understand, I had no idea about anything. I was living on the other side of life, and I had no idea about anything like that. And I said, oh yeah, that sounds pretty good. So I grabbed the yellow pages, and I just started ringing everybody in the yellow pages and asking if they had a traineeship for somebody. Now, I was a bodybuilder that was addicted to steroids and things as well. So I was like really big, and I didn't suit the model of a typical real estate agent, and I didn't have any work clothes either. So I rang everyone, no one would give me a job. And one day, I called these people here. So this is shut down now, but I called this office. And the lady said, come on down and talk to us. So Dino drove me down here, pulled up right here. He drove me down here. I went in there, and she gave me a job. A friend of mine bought me some shoes and a pair of pants, and I think Dino or Karina, can't remember, bought me 2 polo shirts. So and that's what I started with. I had no car, and when I started here, the lady just said to me, all right, what I want you to do is go out and door knock every day. So I would catch the bus over here from where I was living. Oh no, actually, earlier on, this lady put me in her caravan first off to give me a home. So she put me in the caravan on her property, and then one thing led to another, and I ended up renting a room off somebody, one of Karina's friends after that. But she said, go off and door knock. And I would literally just leave here, and I would walk from street to street, all over this suburb, and the next suburb, and the next suburb, and the next suburb. Didn't matter how hot it was, if it was raining, whatever. And I would literally just walk around, knock on people's doors, and say to them, did they want to sell their house? And over time, I found some people that wanted to sell, and I'd run all the way back, suburbs sometimes, and I'd get the lady, and she'd come out, and we'd drive back out, see the people, and she'd list their house, and one thing led to another. Sometimes Dino would give me a lift to work as well. But you got to understand, for the best part of a year, I had no car in real estate, and I used to do that. Eventually, when I got to show people houses, I'd say to them, I'll meet you down at the house in 15 minutes. I would run to the house, and they had no idea I had no car. I'd run to the house, show them the house, and run back. And then after a while, I got a job across the road here. So they offered me another job, and I left here, went across to there, and about a year into the start of my real estate career, Ray, he's not there now, but Ray, there used to be a fish and chip shop over here. So Ray, who owned the fish and chip shop, called me. I got the bus home, and I was renting a room off this elderly lady called Tina. And the phone rings when I got home, maybe, I don't know, 7:30 or 8 o'clock at night. And Ray rings up and he goes, hey Matt, how you going? I'm like, who's this? How would they even have a number for me here? He goes, "It's Ray from the fish and chip shop." I said, "Oh yeah." And he was like an ex-heroin dealer from the Cross, so like we had a bit in common and all of this sort of stuff. And we used to talk in the day at his shop, sometimes just chat about things. And he was on methadone, and he sounded like he was too. Anyway, he goes, "I just want to let you know, you've just been on Australia's Most Wanted." Now, I was like, oh bugger, because I'd started to turn my life around, and I had a lot of things that I didn't clear up when I was, back then, and this is another story. But then about 5 minutes later, Karina, who I met in that nightclub that night, I was dating her and I was engaged to her by this point. Her dad turned up on the doorstep like this. So he'd run all the way down from his house to the lady's house who I was renting a room from. And then he's like, "We better talk." And I was like, "Yeah, we better talk." Now their whole family, Mormon family, 6 kids, the parents, a bit like The Sound of Music, all watching the TV, and I pop up on that show. So I went and handed myself back in. I went to court straight away, and Karina's mum come down and testified, and the old lady came down and testified, Tina. She said, "Matt's fantastic, he helps me out, he feeds my cat, he does the washing," and all this sort of stuff. And the judge looks at me and she said, "You should be going to jail for quite a few years, but I see some good in you, and I'm going to give you a second chance." She still gave me community service. I had to do community service for, I don't know, a year or two. And it took me 8 years to pay the fines back that she gave me. But when I left that place, I made a decision I rang Dino actually, and I said to him, "I'm going to become the #1 real estate agent in Australia. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn things around, and I'm going to make sure that I do the best that I can. And every day I'm going to commit to working towards that." And I'll never forget that phone call. Still, the number that I have today, my phone number, is actually Karina's number that she had when she was about 18 years old. She gave me her phone to get started here. And I still have that number today. So that 2200 number that I have is actually her original number. So, and then one thing led to another over time. I just kept working. And then I was going to move to another real estate agency around the corner, the biggest at the time. And they said, "I can't start for 2 weeks." And I thought, "Oh, I've got a baby on the way. I don't even know how I'm going to buy nappies." I was getting paid nothing. I'm still just door knocking at this point. So I applied for another job closer to Terrigal. They gave me a start with Stephen Giddo's. And then I got a job eventually in Terrigal. And it's amazing how sometimes things don't always, because I wanted to work at this large agency down here, or the best agency in the area, but it didn't come together in the way that I thought it would, like the timing of it, and that led me in another direction. And today, we've got 6 offices and 100 and something people that work with us, and that passion for becoming the best is something that still resonates deeply inside of me. It's been really hard. I've had to work harder than anybody I've ever known to turn my life around, and also to achieve the results that we have. And I've had a great business partner right the way through my whole business, who's literally been my sounding board. Dino's still my best mate today, and it's still there. Whenever we need him, we still laugh about those days. Karina's my ex-wife now. I've had 4 kids with her, but we still get along really good. I take great care of her, and life has progressed. But why I'm sharing this with you is sometimes people wonder why I do these videos and share these life experiences and give this information, because it comes from my heart, and I think I've had to reach down in places and pull myself out of times and situations that have been very, very difficult, very difficult. But I've never given up, and I've stayed totally committed to that choice that I made to become the best in Australia at what I do, and I think I'm getting there. I think I'm getting there. So anyway, I wanted to share this video with you because big things are on their way, not just for me, but for the whole company and whatever, and there's a lot of momentum going on. It's my time, and I just feel the next place is on its way. So I thought this is relevant to do this video for you, just so you can actually see that I come from a place that's like, it's taken a lot of mental strength to get here and a lot of commitment. So thanks Dino, thanks Karina, thanks John McGrath, thanks Jamie, my business partner, and all those other people, and Karen and Shelley, and so many people that have helped me get to where I've needed to get to. It's like, hasn't been just me, it's been the support, and Chris, it's been the support of people that have loved me, and I don't know why, but have definitely helped me along the way, and it's ended up somewhere pretty cool, and it's going to get even cooler. All right, see ya.